the next part is the cool part, and that is the drafting, right? So yeah, let's do it. Now let's hide our measurement and let's bring back our fabric, duplicate that, and let's call it trousers, right? So now the first measurement, the first thing that we're gonna do is actually to color code it, right? So we have, let's see if we have, no, we haven't. So the first color code, right? So let's name it waist, right? And then this one is hips. And then this one is thigh. And then this one is shin, right? So that is the fourth thing. And the fifth thing is, the fifth shader is, we can just import the cut from the previous video, and we're gonna do, yeah, let's do this, and let's 0.2, 0.5, this one is 0.4, 0.5, the shin is 0.6, 0.5. So let's do this. So let's do the vertical cut first, right? So our trousers is 10, 10, and 28, and 42. So yeah, so maybe we have to minimize this. So 10, 10, 28, and 42. So let's do this. So this is 10, right? And do another 10, and this is gonna be our waist, sorry, hips. So this is gonna be our waist, and this is gonna be our hips. So from here, we are gonna take another 28 down to the shin, which is this one, and it's gonna be our thigh. And we're gonna take another 42 there, and this is gonna be our shin. Voila. Now you can cut this thing, right? So yeah, now okay, now they should total at 90, right? Which is already correct, 90 centimeters. And yeah, that is our vertical cut. So now let's do the horizontal cut. So the first thing is the waist, and the waist is 17 centimeters. However, we're gonna add 2 centimeters again for the darts. So we're gonna take 19, right? So this is gonna be the cut, and we're gonna deal with the, so before we go to the hips, this is where we should make the crotch area, right? So let me draw something just to make you know that what we are going for. So this is gonna be our waist, right? This is our waist. And however, that is not the middle point, because the middle point is gonna be cut for our crotch. So this is gonna be the midline, and they're gonna create the curve here, and this part is gonna be cut from the trousers panel, both the back and the front. And then we're gonna measure the hips from that point. So that is gonna be our trousers shape. So yeah, so we're gonna have to offset this thing, right? And yeah, let's do that. So you might be asking, then how are we gonna offset them? How many centimeters that we have to offset? Because the thing is, what we know so far, is that we know the circumference of the crotch line, right? 46, which is 21 and 25, but we don't really know like how much it should be vertically and horizontally. So the thing is, the easiest way to do that, actually the first thing is that we have to figure out where is the crotch line in vertical sense. So let's do that instead. So, okay, now this is the meeting point, right? If you remember, this is the meeting point between the front and the back. And we can use the Z value, and then we're gonna use that on this length, and we're gonna let's hide it, then we're gonna subdivide it, and then move this to the crotch line level. So this thing is gonna be exactly aligned with that point. So yeah, that should be enough for us to know that. So let's delete all. Now we can just segment this and show that. So the distance from our hips to the thigh is 10 centimeters. And from that 10 centimeters, we're gonna have 5 and 5 for the crotch line. So that should be enough. So let's add that to the hips to crotch, right? And that's gonna be 5 centimeters. So that should be enough, and let's hide our measurement and let's put it here. So this is our waistline, right? So we just have to measure another 5 centimeters down, which is going to be here, and let's put it into cut, right? So this is going to be where the crotch line starts, right? So the easiest for you to kind of know where you should offset this entire thing is to measure from the crotch line to the waist, right? That is 15 centimeters. And we're going to use 2/3 of that, meaning that it's going to be 10, right? So 2/3 of 15 is 10, and we're going to use that 10 centimeters to offset this entire thing to the side. So let's do it. So let's select all, and then we're gonna, okay, now let's turn on our clipping first, and we're gonna pull this 10 centimeters to the side, right? Something like that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Too much. We're gonna pull it actually 9 centimeters, right? So this is gonna be 9, right? So there's gonna be 10 centimeters there. So this is, yeah. So if you notice that our black mark here, now if you measure this, it is 10 centimeters. So that is how we're gonna profile the entire thing. So this entire square is gonna be cut to make our crotch line. So yeah, so that is 10, right? So we're gonna put another cut here, something like that. And yeah, let's create a curve to do the crotch line. So let's add a bezier, and you can snap it here to the middle line and put it there and put it there. So this is a classic way to create curve that you have seen again and again of me doing it. And yeah, these two lines, these two handle should meet at exactly the same point, right? And then the next, first let's see how long this is. Right now it is 22.5. Meanwhile, we have to get 21 for the front part, right? So we're gonna scale it down until it meets our desired circumference, and it is very close, 2 millimeters again. Okay, that is very close, and that is too much, something like that, and that is 21 in length. So this is gonna be our first let's create another collection for our curve. Let's call it dress, right? And let's put everything that we have created for the dress there and there. So this is our, let's call it crotch line front, right? So that's gonna be our crotch line. So okay, now we don't have to cut it right now, right? Because we're gonna do the rest of it first before we cut it. So okay, now let's continue to our hips. Now our hips angle is 24 centimeters, and to measure our hips we're gonna use this line as a starting point. So we're gonna measure 24, right? That is our 24, and that is gonna be our cut, right? So yeah, 24, yep, 24, that sounds correct. And yeah, so where is to put the thigh? Now, the easiest way to know the center of the thigh is actually to use the center of the waist. So the waist is, so wait a minute, so this is 18, right? Oh, so this is 18, right? No, it lacks another one, I think, because our waist should be 17 plus 2, so it should be 19, right? So it should be there, right? So that is going to be our cut, and we're going to divide this by 2. But since 19 is not dividable by 2 to get a round number, so you will get something like 9 and 8. So yeah, that's okay. So that's gonna be our darts point, right? This is 9 and then this is 8, making it 17 in total. So this is the middle point, right? And we're gonna use this middle point to measure our thigh. So this is gonna be the middle point for our thigh, for our knee, and also for our ankle. So yeah, right? So this is the reason why I mentioned earlier that our thigh, even though that it should be divisible by 2, but it should also be divisible by 4, because right now we're gonna measure a half of this number, that is 28, which is 14, and we're gonna measure that to the left and then the other to the right. So that's the reason why. So that is 14, right? So this is gonna be cut, right? So this is 14, and we should measure another 14 to the side, and here is gonna be our cut. So yeah, so here's the thing. Right now you see that we have the knee, right? You can make it as you desire. For example, that 18 divided by 2 is going to be 9, so it should be here, right? Something like that, and that. So if you want to create that pencil shape, you should definitely make and cut the trousers according to this number. But since I want to create a loose fitting trousers like this, if you see that the hem of the trousers is kind of wide, so to make that, actually you can just go straight right down from the thigh to the ankle right here. Yeah, so you don't have to measure anything else, so you just go straight from the thigh to the ankle, including the knee, right? So that is gonna be it, right? So that is our cut. So now the darts. So yeah, the darts is already good. We're gonna cut the darts later because the front and the back is gonna have a little bit difference in this sense. And yeah, so this is gonna be our template for the front part. So no, actually this is the template for the trousers. There are several things that we can do exactly the same between these two things. So let's do that before we separate it between the front and the back. So the first thing that you can do is actually, well, let's duplicate that first. And the first thing that you can do is to remove the outer side of it here, right? So, okay, let's hide that. And that is the first cut. The second cut is gonna be this crotch thing, right? So we're gonna create a curve from this point to that point. So let's create that. So I'm just gonna use this crotch line just to call it crotch to thigh, right? Something like that. So yeah, we just have to invert it and we're gonna snap it there, then do that, something like that. Now, however, so here's the thing that I've kind of learned over the years. It's not over the years, over the months that I've been doing this, that you should add extra. So the distance between this to that is 5 centimeters, right? So you should add another 5, right? Something like that. And that's gonna be the end of this curve, like that. So yeah, so that's gonna create this beautiful shape, like a longer, nicer shape of it. And yeah, you should definitely make something like that. So maybe put it there, something like that, I guess, right? So it's create this beautiful curve that is not too kind of really tight. And yeah, that what you should definitely make. And yeah, now we're gonna cut that with this. So let's cut it, mesh, and knife project, and let's hide it. And that's gonna delete all that straight down to the bottom. Sorry. Now let's redo that. And the thing is, it shouldn't be here, but it should be inside, which is there, right? So yeah, so it's something like that. And let's see. Yeah, this still is a good line, right? So we're gonna cut it with this again, knife project, and we're gonna delete everything straight to the bottom of the hem. And yeah, something like that, face, right? So that is gonna be the parts where the front and the back is gonna be the same. But first, let me clean this up first. It's one of my thing again that, you know, the thing is, it's best you to be clean with it, right, when it comes to topology of the cloth, because that's gonna, if you didn't do it right now, it's gonna kind of haunt you down later. So it's better to do it correctly. So yeah, let's do that. And yeah, let's see our thigh. This doesn't really matter. If you don't want to do this, it's okay. So it's gonna be 12, right? So it should 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be another 12. So it already has been 12. So yeah, that's good. Now that is our trousers. Now let's duplicate it to make our front part, trousers front, right? And we're gonna bring back our crotch and we're gonna cut it to the mesh, right? That is easy. And let's delete all this face, right? So we know that the crotch is 21, so we're gonna make sure that this edges is 21 in number of edges. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do it real quick. And these are all vertices. And let's see how much that we should lose. 24. So we're gonna have to lose 3 edges right now. So that is the first, definitely, and that is the second. And well, this is the third, right? So that is 21 in length. So yeah, so that is great. So now remember that the next thing that we're gonna do is actually to apply our very own this measurement, waist to hips and hips to thigh. So that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, so from the waist to hips, it's gonna be 15 centimeters, right? So we have like 10, right? So what we can do is the thing is that the distance from, yeah, so let's bring Photoshop. So remember that the back part is going to be bigger than the front part, right? However, the meeting point between the middle of it is going to be, it's exactly the same. So because this part should have exactly the same number of edges, right? This meeting point between the front and the back. So to do that correctly, so even though that the back will be bigger than the front, but this middle point here should be the same. So however, we should not add another extra edges in the crotch. So what we can do is actually to create that angle, right? The diagonal angle from this, and we're gonna put it up, right, until it meets our 15 centimeters. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So however, remember that, so no, actually let's just extrude it for now, right? So let's extrude it here, like, so we're gonna extrude another 5 centimeters, and let's cut it into 4, right? So right now this and that is 15 centimeters, right? So we're gonna cut from this point, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna cut it from that point to that point. Voila. However, you would notice that right now, so for example, if you create, let's create another curve, right? Mesh and Bezier. And this one, remember that when we create this thing, we actually measure it at the side, right? Not in the mid, not in the front panel. So the thing is, sometimes because the hips is kind of curvy, so it's kind of it can be a little bit of a thing, difference between the straight and then the angled line. So if you measure this, let's cut it with that. And if you create knife project and then you measure that point to this point, let's see, and you do segment, you would notice that it's actually a little bit bigger, right? It's now 15.67. So that's not actually how to do it. So the first thing that we should do is to revise our how much we add to the side. So let's delete the edges. So the trick is, even though that it is 15, it's safe to say that you should only do it like 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Because right now, if you create this Bezier again, right? And then you put it there, and then you do cut it with this mesh knife project, and you remeasure everything here to that point, you would notice now that it's actually closer to 15 centimeters. It's true that it has a little bit of a like 3 millimeters difference, but it's a little bit closer to 15 centimeters. So that is what you should do. Instead of 5, adding 5 to the top, you should add just 4. So yeah, so that is one thing. And yeah, so now we can actually do the darts. Now we have this diagonal pattern, we can do the darts. So how to do the darts? Well, the easiest way of that is actually to get a half measure from this straight line. So this is 10, right? And we're gonna do it like 5. So it's gonna be here, right? So yeah, so here's how to do the darts perfectly. Because if you notice that if you do something like this, you would notice that now the top part is kind of different, right? And because they have 2 different cutting point. So to do it correctly actually is that first you can delete this face, right? And then we can delete this face and that face. And we can delete the entire edge here, right? Dissolve edges. And then we can actually subdivide here, and we're gonna match this point, the Y, and then do that instead. And we can actually now just do that, and we're gonna merge it there, and we're gonna create a brand new line from that to that, something like that. And now if you cut, because now this edge is level with one another, you can create a perfect dart right there. So that is a trick to cut the darts on the trousers, because the trousers is a little bit different than the shirt or the dress that we did earlier, because we have to deal with this now diagonal field of cloth. So that is a challenge. So we can just cut the faces and we can now join them. Bridge, only face. Now, the next thing that we're gonna do is actually to kind of remember that it's 17, right? So we have to make sure that these edges is 17 in total. So right now it's kind of a 20, so we have to lose 3 edges. So 1, 2, and 3. So now if you calculate this, it's gonna be 17, which is the correct number. So now, since we have cut the side, we can actually just delete everything, right? And yeah, now that is just a matter of like cutting things. Okay, that's almost there. Face. Okay, now now we can actually just clean this up real quick, right? And yep, these are all vertices. Now we can just do that, just clean this stray vertices. The thing is, you don't really have to aim for so if you now where is it, this one, let's call it front side curve, right? So this is 24.7, right? So this one, it should be 24 or 25, and that's okay. And yeah, that is the front panel for you. And yeah, oh yeah, that is actually, no, that's great actually. Now this is the front panel, right? So now we have to deal with the back panel. Now that is the back panel, and we're gonna deal with the crotch line right here, and we're gonna call it back, right? So remember that for the back we have to add extra fabric, and that's gonna be 4 centimeters. So we're gonna add extra 4 centimeters right at the top, something like that, and add another 3 cuts, right? So that is gonna be so the distance from that point to the crotch is gonna be 19, right? And as you would know, that because the distance from the crotch to the top is different right now, so we have to move our crotch line to the side as well, so that it fits our 2/3 rule. So right now, if you go to 2/3 for 19, you don't get a round number, right? So you can pick between 12 and 13. For this case, I'm gonna pick 13, right? So let's bring this up here, and we're gonna add another 3. 1, 2, 3, because that one is 10, right? So that is gonna be 13, right? So that is what's gonna be our back crotch line. So However, we have to move this thing to the side, right? So yeah, so let's move it to the side, and the easiest way to do it is actually, so let's see if I can do it, right? So instead of like attaching everything from scratch, the thing is, I think I'm just gonna like, let's see if I can do it, right? So we're gonna rip it. We're gonna move it 3 centimeters to the side, right? And then we're gonna reattach everything at the bottom here, and we're gonna use merge by distance, so that this thing now becomes one thing again. And we can delete the axis at the side, and we can rejoin this thing, and we're gonna cut another 2, and then we're gonna merge this thing by distance as well. So now this thing becomes a cohesive part of the fabric again. So that is how to save a little bit of time, right? So yeah, now that is gonna be our new, this is gonna be the back part. So now let's go back to our crotch line. So let's snap this to here, and let's snap that to that. So the length of this is right now is 28 centimeters, 28.8, and meanwhile we have to get only 25. That's a lot. That's kind of a lot. So let's shape it. So that is 26, 25.4. Now that's too big. Yep. Now that is close. Let's see if I can make it a little bit closer. Yep. Too much. Yep, that is the curve. So yeah, we're gonna cut it, right? And that mesh knife project, hide it, and let's delete it, everything here, face. And now we just have to make sure that they have a clean topology here, and yeah, so that is the thing. Now they have to measure at the same 25. So right now it's 30, so we have to lose like 5 more. So that is the first candidate, right? 1, 2, this 3, 4, and 5. So that one to that one should be 25, and that is correct. So the next thing is the darts, right? So the darts, the point of the darts is exactly the same, like 5 points down, right? So that is gonna be there, right? So this thing, this is the straight waistline. So this one to that one is 5. And so here's the thing, since actually right now that the front and then the back, so let's name it back. So that is the front, right? And it's gonna connect with that. Right now, the raised angle of our this thing, 4 centimeters, is exactly equal to the raised angle of the front part that we did earlier. So the back part right now is a flat line from the middle to the edge, so we don't have to angle them right now. So we can actually easily create darts without doing the thing that we did earlier with the front. So now it's a little bit easier to do. Face, and he's gonna bridge this thing, something like that, and only face. So yeah, that is a great thing. Now do that with this side. We're gonna use this crotch, the same, but now let's call it back side, and we're gonna move it to here, right? Something like that, and this to that, and yeah, we're gonna cut it. That, and mesh, knife project, and we're gonna delete everything here, right? Face. The thing is, right now you notice that, well, why haven't we do the hips, right? I mean, like, we don't measure the hips, right? We use the hips at the front, and yeah, that's actually okay to use the hips measurement at the front. So yeah, so let's, even though right now you would notice that if you measure this point, right, and then you go to the side, it's only like 21, right? So it should be like 24, right? So yes, but the thing is, for now, let's not do that. Let's just keep it this way, and later I'm gonna show you why. And yeah, so this is our final, no, actually not the final, I guess. So okay, so the thing is, so yeah, anyway, so as you can see that this is what we do. This is the review. This is what we do in the part, in drafting part. We create this, and then we create that. However, I think we kind of forget one extra measurement that we take, and that is hips to, no, not hips to crotch, but hips to thigh. So remember that on the original trousers length, we measure it at 10, and we actually did make 10, right? So that is 10. But when we measure it with our measurement, there is kind of a difference between the front measurement and then the side measurement, right? Because the side measurement measures this extra angled hips, right? So which is we should choose? Well, it is the side for this case, and we're gonna put that into our thing. So yeah, so to do that quickly, we can actually just drag it down, right, by 2 centimeters, GY, and we're gonna drag it 2 centimeters because it's 12 and now it's 10. So we're gonna create 2 cuts, and this thing and that thing is gonna be like 12, right? And we're gonna do the same thing. Oh, I see. So the thing is, we already did the curve here, right? So so that's a little bit of a bummer. So actually the thing is, we can actually redo the thing again, right? Just delete the curve, and then we're gonna move it, this entire thing, to the back, to the bottom. So something like that, and we're gonna create 2 cuts. So from that point to that point is 12, right? And then we're gonna add, so the distance from here to that is gonna be 7, and we're gonna create another 7 to the bottom to create our new cut, of our crotch to thigh thing. So no, let's include that. Let's do this and let's cut it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's cut it by 5, and we can actually re-merge these things, right? By distance. So we can now create a brand new curve. So we're gonna use this crotch to thigh curve, right? And we're gonna use that and pull it down here. So it's gonna create that more of a curve there. And yeah, so let's see how we can do this, right? So that is the, okay, 1, 2, 3. Something like that is gonna be like good, like, right? So yeah, so maybe this one should be 3, 1, 2, 3. So something like that. Yeah, that is gonna be 6, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the thing is, it should be something here, because the 7 is here, right? Not at the black cut part. So yeah, that should be a good number. This is 6 and this is also 6, but this one is a little bit angled. So yeah, let's recut this with this newly edited crotch to thigh curve. Yep. And crotch to thigh, and what's happening? So that is gonna be that, and let's recut it. Knife project. Oh, that's better. There's kind of a bug there. Face. So that is our newly created curve, right? And yeah, let's see if we can clean these up. So this is 16 centimeters. So let's see, that is a lot. So let's clean this up again, and see. Okay, these are vertices, and this one to that point is 19. We have to lose only 3. That is the first. That is the second. So which one is gonna be the third? This one, I guess. So that one to that one is 16. So yep, that is cool. And we have to do the same with the back, unfortunately. So yeah, let's do it real quick though, right? So the thing is, this thing we can actually like fast forward this thing, right? The fixing part, right? I mean, like, I can do it in post processing. And yeah, so that is 7, that is another 7, this is the cut, right? So let's extrude that, do that, and I'm gonna do this by distance. So now that is our newly created thing. This is the curve, and then we can go knife project, and okay, mesh. Okay, nope. The thing is, there is kind of a bug every time I kind of it's something that I notice with a knife project, is that they sometimes do kind of a bug, right? That it's not get cut, something like that, if you see that, right? So that's okay for now. I think it's something that I notice many times. So the thing is, we can manually cut this thing to the top, which we can apparently. Maybe that's the reason. Yep, that's correct. Now we just have to clean this up again. For this should be 19, and we're gonna have to lose 3. This one, and that one. So yeah, that is our back and this is our front. Let's see if they are identical around the thigh. And they do. They are identical right now. And yeah, this is what we did. This is the final review for the drafting part. So we create that, and we have fixed the thigh distance and for both the front and the back. And yeah,